All right. It is 11:32, and you are tuned into Heart Connections with your heart coach, Adelai Brown, right here on kinetichifi.com. It's Think About It Tuesday. Think About It Tuesday. It's time for Heart Talk. This is the talk portion of our show. This segment is brought to you by my new book, Help Save Me from My Broken Heart, Your Journey to Living and Loving Again. You can pre-order your copy of Help Save Me from My Broken Heart at theheartconnections.com. You can also register for the Mother's Day brunch, the Help Save Me Mother's Day brunch on Saturday, May the 12th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. And it's going to be in beautiful downtown Charleston. We have a private location, a personal private location. It's going to be a beautiful brunch for those who want to attend. It's a Mother's Day brunch, but everybody is welcome to come. It's not just for mothers, it's open to everyone. Seating is very limited. I want it to be a nice, intimate, laid back, refreshing setting for us. And I'll be introducing the new book and going through the divine heart transplant process with you in a way that's very uplifting and encouraging. I'm excited about it. Make sure you check out all of that at theheartconnections.com. Today is Think About It Tuesday, and we're thinking about what we're thinking about. What are you thinking about? Well, one thing I want to talk a little bit about on this segment is what we think about in relationships. What are you thinking about in your relationships? I feel like I hear a lot of people saying things. Good morning to everybody listening Facebook Live, the Reverend Pierre, the governor. Thank you for checking in. And everybody tuning in live on YouTube, you can check me out at bit.ly/ Heart Connections, the Heart Connections page. You can catch me live on YouTube. But I want to talk about what we think about our thoughts in regards to relationships. A thought, remember, is an idea or opinion produced by thinking or occurring suddenly in the mind. It's also an act of considering or remembering someone or something, an intention, hope, or idea of doing or receiving something. Many times, the thoughts that are in our minds, the intentions, the hopes, or the ideas that we have are not productive. They're counterproductive for us in life as we move forward, and especially in our relationships. I know so many people, it's no good men out here. All men are dogs. I hear so many women say things like that. And then I hear the men saying things like, it's never good enough for women. You can never please a woman. Women are always angry or they're so always so hard to please. And I feel like a lot of times we find ourselves in these situations and we're having these conversations about how difficult people are because of what we're thinking about. Many of us view relationships, especially when we're talking about our significant other, when we're talking about men and women, when we view relationships, we look at relationships, many times we're basing it off of the relationships that we saw as we were growing up in life. So if you are someone that was raised in a home where there was a very toxic relationship, it could have been abusive mentally, physically, or verbally. And that was what you saw. You saw your parents. Maybe your parents were married, but maybe they fought all the time. And if that is the case, what you saw in relationships and your thoughts about relationships, the ideas that you think when it comes to, or your opinion when it comes to a relationship, is going to be heavily affected by what you saw in the past. Now, if you were someone that may have come up where you had a sibling raising you, maybe there were no, you didn't see romantic relationships, so all you saw were relationships on TV. So what you think about relationships are just what you saw on The Young and the Restless, or what you saw on, the Disney movie, Cinderella, wherever you saw relationships. These things we have to think about when we come into relationship, when we begin to connect with other people in ways that go deeper, ways that cause us to have to make sacrifices for them and give in areas we don't want to give and compromise. What you think about that person or your place in a relationship heavily impacts how you're going to interact in that relationship. If you were a woman who was raised to think that women do not cook, maybe the house, maybe Maybe your dad did all of the cooking in the house, or you might have been raised by your father, so you didn't have to cook. You had to do other things. And you marry someone, but his mother did all of the cooking in the house. So now y'all get together in a relationship, and there's turmoil because he wants you to cook and you feel like he should cook, and you guys are thinking certain things, but you're not thinking the right thing, and you're not even thinking about what you're thinking about. And what happens is you can find yourself with at the divorce attorney's office behind not thinking about what we're thinking about. And a lot of those things deal with our love languages and all of those other things. But at the core of it, what are you thinking about? What is the crux of what you believe? What is the foundation of those ideas and thoughts that are coming to mind in your life right now? Many of us do a very good job of convincing people on the surface that we have it together. But it's not until you find yourself in a relationship and you're having to make sacrifices and you're not going to have it together 24/7. That's what the issue is with a big breakup or a bad breakup, because you can have this honeymoon phase, or like many people do on social media. They try to present themselves like, or any place in life. It's not just, this stuff didn't just start with social media. We can see it more with social media, but people always trying to present themselves as they're more than what they are, and they're doing than what more than what they really are doing. And what the problem is you're not thinking the right things about yourself. So what happens is you try to present something so that other people can think the right thing about you, but you're not even thinking the right thing about you. That's what happens when we're with our husbands and wives. That's what happens when we're with our children. That's what happens when you have parents and children, especially parents with adult children. Especially when you grow up and you decide to deviate or do things differently than the way your parents did them. You have to look at what you're thinking about, because if you don't think about what you're thinking about, you're going to just go in the default, that you're going to go along the terms and the lines of the default, and that's whatever you saw growing up, whatever influenced you in life, and whatever is going on right now is going to impact you, and you will just be like a boat in the water with no anchor. So whenever a wave comes, it knocks in one direction, another wave comes and knocks it the other direction. And I feel like there are a lot of people struggling in their relationships right now, and they're mad at their husband or wife, or they're mad at their boyfriend or girlfriend, significant other, and they're upset with their children or coworkers. Like right now, you may be listening to me at work and you're mad at someone you're in relationship with at work, like a coworker or a boss or something of that nature. And it might not be so much that that person is so bad. It's just that you need to think about what you're thinking about. What are your ideas and opinions regarding this person? That molds the type of relationship you're going to have with this person. When I was so afraid of dogs, I was afraid of dogs because when I was little, I thought that the dog tried to bite me. It wasn't until I got older till I realized the dog didn't try to bite me. I had something hard in my hand. So when the dog was playing with me, he chipped my cup, and when he chipped my cup, I thought, oh my gosh, he broke my cup and he was going to bite me. And the dog never had that intention. But because I thought the wrong thing about what happened, for about 20 years or more, I was terribly afraid of dogs. And now, because I thought about what I was thinking about and actually processed it, my relationships with dogs have changed now because I now think differently about dogs. I feel like many of you need to do that same thing with your husband or your wife. I feel like you need to do that with your children. You need to look at how you're thinking about them. What are you thinking about your relationship? Be honest about some of the fears and anxieties that you have regarding your relationship and the insecurities that you have within yourself. Because many times we find fault in others, because we're trying to project that negativity away from ourselves. We don't want other people to know we don't have it together. We don't want other people to know how inadequate we feel. So what we do is we find fault in other people to avoid having to deal with the fault that's within. And there will come a time when we have to get past that and overcome that. And we have to say, you know what? I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not doing this to myself. I'm not doing this to those that love me. if that means that we have to start talking to ourselves or writing things down and really starting to get to understand who we are and even be okay with the things that we won't understand. But I'm trying to talk somebody off a ledge, somebody who thought they needed to get a divorce, somebody who was getting ready to give up on their kids, somebody who was getting ready to make a rash decision. It's not them. I need you to change the way you're thinking about them, yourself, and the relationship that you have. It could be your coworker, it could be your child, it could be your wife, it could be your manager, it could be your sister, your brother, your neighbor. But let's think about what we're thinking about. Let's really think about it. All right. This has been Heart Talk with your heart coach, Adelai Brown, right here on your community station with international inspiration, kinetichifi.com. This segment has been brought to you by my new book, Help Save Me from My Broken Heart, Your Journey to Living and Loving Again. That journey requires a lot of thinking about what you're thinking about. And I want to help you do that. So pre-order your copy, theheartconnections.com. We'll be back with more. Our midday mix is coming up. We have some news you can use at about 12. But in the meantime, I want you to think out loud. I want you to keep in mind all of the wonderful things that can be if you change what you're thinking. Check out the YouTube page, bit.ly/Heart Connections. We'll be back with more after this. Ed Sheeran, Thinking Out Loud, KineticHiFi.com. All right, guys. We'll be back.